Hello, dynamic stars. How are you? I am out here by the waters. You know, this is where fresh water meets ocean water, and I just felt I needed to be here to talk to you about this topic today. We are talking about a spiritual journey interfacing with divinity. And this topic was suggested by one of my good friends, recent new person that I met on Instagram, WitchSwap. I'm going to put her details below. She has this fabulous circle of like-minded folks who share letters with one another. And in these times of, shelter in place, stay at home, whatever you want to call it, it is a beautiful way to connect. So thank you, Jane of WitchSwap. And we're going to jump right into this topic. Come on back. Okay, so a spiritual journey interfacing with divinity. You're like, what's that? What? I don't understand. But I'm going to break it up. I have my notes here. I did not bring my tripod, so sorry for the shaking up front. We have the basics. We have the types of spiritual entities that you may encounter as you begin this journey. The location, you'll understand more when we get there, and what to expect as the relationship between you and spirit evolves, develops, comes in. So we've got 4 areas. I'm going to do my best to keep this short, but I want to touch on the topics. If there's something else you want to know, put it in the comments below, and I will definitely follow up with another video or answer your questions in the comments if that can happen. Okay, basics. First and foremost, communicating with that is outside of yourself. To some people is like a little woo-woo. Oh my God, what are you talking about? It's not. It's as natural as you having a thought and thinking it in your head. Literally. Sometimes, many times, the thing that we think in our head and we think it's us is not us. It's spirit that knows that we're not really paying attention, and this is the way that they can talk to us, help us, influence us. So they sound like us. As you develop your relationship with them, you'll get to know, that really wasn't me, was it? So that's first and foremost. So what I'm saying, everybody has connection with divinity, okay? Now let's get into the basics. The basics is, and this is really simple, come with reverence. And I wrote down, even when you are brand new, when you respect and admire a person, do you come raggedy? Do you come like, what's up? I just rolled out of bed and no, you don't do that. You don't. You dress, fairly nicely. You take a shower, you take a bath, you smell good, you don't stink. Same thing. When you go to grandma, matriarch of the family, do you just roll up? No, you don't. Do you speak in a way that you speak with your friends? No, you don't. You start the yes and ma'am and all of that stuff, right? I'm not saying you have to go, oh, no. You don't have to do that. But leave that other stuff back there in that water. Drop it in there and just go, I'm just going to come as myself. So that's the first thing, reverence. Come with a peaceful, calm mind. What does that mean? All right. I know for a lot of us right now, peaceful, calm, that's like, I'm not really peaceful and calm. That's why I want to know more. Take some deep breaths. Take a shower. Let it all go. As you're in the shower, ask that all your cares and problems are washed away and flow down the drain and away from you. Okay? So that's one way, a very quick and easy way to get calm. Put on some of your favorite perfumes. Put on your favorite oils. Whatever relaxes you, do that. Then You want to come with an eye to developing a relationship, maintaining the relationship. What does that mean? It means work on being in a place where you are like, you know what, I kind of want to have this thing. I want to be free. I want to be open. I want this thing to work. So come with optimism. Come with a little bit of anticipation, maybe a little tingling in your tummy, those butterflies. All of that is the right approach to approaching and interfacing with divinity. And the last one, which, is pretty important, bring a nice gift. What does that mean? Some incense. Bring pretty crystal or a little shot of rum, tequila, brandy, a glass of water. Just something small to let them know, hey, I didn't come empty-handed to the party. A lot of times when you go to a party, old school used to say, bring something, right? Bring something for the host. Same thing, same principle. Okay, that's pretty much it for the basics. All right, nice and simple, ground rules. Next things, a few of the spiritual entities you may encounter: angels, Orisha, deities, and other divinities, like all of the gods and goddesses, because a lot of times people have different words. So I say divinities when we're talking about gods, goddesses of any culture you're talking about. I know a lot of people feel a certain type of way about angels, but they do exist. There are so many levels of them. You can Google, right here on YouTube, there's a ton of things that explain to them. But long and short, there's like a hierarchy of angels, 7 levels. Some people say more. But the bottom line is there are angels that are personal to you. Yes, you. I'm talking to you right there. That come to you, that were born with you. You can actually find out the name of your angel based upon your birth date. All right? And that angel is the angel that stays with you for your life, and you can pray to them. You can use their colors, their crystals, and they will help you. That is your personal guardian angel. All right? There's that. Communicating with all of the spiritual entities is pretty much the same to start. And then afterwards, once you start getting more feedback from them, that's when things may change up. That's when you might need to do something different. But at the beginning, you're always focusing on being reverent, sitting quietly, and enjoying peace and calm while calling your specific chosen spiritual agent that you're working with or you want to work with. For the angels, it's very easy. They're always around you. So literally you can do a little white candle and call on your personal guardian angels, your protective angels, however you want to say it, and sit quietly and let them come to you. That's easy. Very easy. Orisha. That is from West Africa, Nigeria. This religion came to the world from Africa, and it got transported and distributed around the world via the Atlantic slave trade. Went through Brazil and went through Cuba, went through the Caribbean islands, and then finally, last stop was the USA. So there are different branches of the religion in these different countries, but pretty much all of the Orisha kind of have a correlation to one another. I give you all of that. Sorry, again, forgot my tripod. I give you all of that background to say, when approaching Orisha, it's a little different. Orisha, there are stories of the Orisha. Many of them were human before, and then they became, in essence, deified. So sometimes they want you to do a little bit more in order to connect with them. I wouldn't say the premise, but for many who practice Orisha traditions, that could be Lukumi, Santeria, and in Brazil, they have another name. I'm sorry, I don't remember it off the top. They call their Orishas a little bit different, but you have to really cultivate the relationship. If you're trying to work with Oshun, Shango, Obatala, any of them, I mean, one of the easier Orishas to work with is Obatala, because Obatala takes all heads. He was the one that created humans from their pataki. He actually shaped and formed them out of clay and blew the breath of life into them in the Orisha tradition. So if you approach Obatala, he will come to you because all of us belong to him, all heads. Shango, he is the king, he is the leader, he is the one that uses his will, that uses discernment, that uses his intuition to put together a group. And because no king can lead without, right? However you want to call it, a group of trusted, like-minded people, working with him. So you have to have a good CEO in the middle of all of that to manage and delegate and to have the final say and do the right thing, right? So working with Heru or Shango, sorry, I keep going back and forth because there are so many correspondences. Heru is from the Egyptian pantheon, Kemetic pantheon. Shango is the name of the same energy in the Yoruba tradition. So that energy is also pretty easy to work with simply because we use our will, we use discernment, we use that energy a lot. So tapping into that is also, very easy to do. Shango's colors, red, white, okay? Obatala's color, all white. His correspondence in the Kemetic pantheon is Oser. So what I'm saying is, do a little research about the energy that you want to work with for the Orisha tradition and get to know their colors, get to know their patakis, their story, so that you have a better idea of how to approach them. Because, put it this way, think about the Orisha like this. If you were going for an interview for a job you really wanted, would you just show up cold without knowing anything about them? Or would you sit down and do some research, find out their recent acquisitions, the staff and some of their accomplishments? Would you come with some foreknowledge? Yes. Same thing with Orisha. Do that, okay? Because they appreciate that. Coming, knowing them a little bit, the Orisha appreciate that, okay? All right, so now, deities. Deities, and of course, this is all semantics. This is us humans with our words. Deities, now you can ascribe to like the Egyptian pantheon. I have heard of them as deities. So what's the difference between deity and divinity? I think it's words. I really do. Because you can't tell me that a deity and a divinity, one is higher, one is lower. I mean, semantics to me. But that's me. I am sure there are many others who are very well educated and can give you, line references going back to, before time and all of that. I am not taking away from any of them at all because I need to do more research to find that distinction. But at this moment in time, I'll just say deities, divinities, treat them the same way because they are beautiful, high spirits that we interact with. I personally think it's just people's various groups' biases that make them say, oh, this is not Orisha, oh, this is not deity, oh, this is not divinity, oh, this is not angel. It's people. That's my thoughts. Anyway, you approach deities and divinities through meditation, through quiet prayer, through quiet reflection. You have their colors, you have incense, whether it's their incense or not. You can get a nice incense that you feel that they would like. Again, even if you read one or two things or in a book online, watch a video about deities and divinities, the Hindu god Ganesha, depending upon how you prefer, Kali, Hedaru, Sekar, Sekhmet, any of those. Read a little bit about them. Know a little bit about who they are. And then sit down and let them know, I want to reach out to you. I want to form a relationship with you. Are you open to that? For me, deities and divinities, you kind of want to see a little bit more about if they are willing to work with you, because many of these energies, for me, they choose you. You see their name, their color, it pops up, and you're like, why do I? The last week I've seen this name 3-4 times and I've never heard this before. That's them going, hello, 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 woo, hey, how you doing? I want to talk to you. That's what they do. So for this group, they're much easier because they come to your awareness, all right? But you do the same thing. You sit quietly and call them or allow them to speak to you, okay? And now, location. Where do you do all of this stuff, right? Okay. Anywhere. You see where I am right now? Yeah, you could do it here. I'm sitting on a little park bench, relaxing and chilling and talking to you guys with water behind me, which I love. You can talk to divinity in a space like this. You can talk to divinity with your back against a tree. You can talk to divinity in your bedroom. You can talk to your divinity sitting someplace else in your house at your kitchen table with a little candle. Wherever you are, if you can have a candle in that spot, have a little candle. It could be a tea light candle, nothing huge, nothing big. And you could have that tea light candle floating in a little bowl of water. You see what I'm saying? I'm not telling you to do anything wild and crazy and formal and extra. Don't do that. Because I don't want you to feel you cannot connect. Because that's what a lot of us have problems with, connecting and feeling like we have to do this, and this, and this. No. Don't. Location. Formal, informal. Formal for me is if you're trying to do something with Orisha, they tend to be more formal. The deities and the divinities, as you grow the relationship, you will get more information and it may become more formalized. Angels, you can call an angel and they'll just sit with you. So for me, the most formal are the Orisha, various other traditions, Vidun, Palo, they're pretty formal. You need to go to a priest, priestess, Babalao, a high official in the religion in order to interface with them at a level where you can ask for things and have guidance and protection from them. You can reach these Orisha, like I said, on your own, but you have to do it slowly and you have to just, be patient. Location. you see, I'm like, location is tough because it depends upon your living situation. Are you able to have like a little setup? Are you able to have like a little altar? And an altar can be simple. Like right now, just gonna show you. See, I just have some things here. That is a simple altar, actually, very simple. It could be just a few things that you gather that have meaning for you and for the spiritual entity you're trying to get in contact with. You can have it set up permanently in a spot, and you keep that spot clear and reverent, and you have incense burning. You have a candle that you burn, once a week whenever you sit with them. Or, I know this might be controversial to some people. Depending upon your living situation, this may need to be. You can have your shrine, altar, in a shoebox or some other container that on the outside looks, one way, but on the inside is something else. So shoebox is just a container word, a semantic word to say whatever. It could be in a suitcase. It could be in a vase. It can be in a pretty box you got from IKEA or, Home Goods. You get my point. Anything that on the outside looks one way, but on the inside is completely different. So location is entirely up to you. And like I was saying, you can sit at a tree, pick a tree, and you go there every week, every 2 weeks to do your meditation, and that is your meditation spot. That is your connection spot. You can do that. You could do it outside in your backyard. You can go out on your balcony, wherever. You have to find what is sacred and what looks like reverence to you. All right. And the last one, what can you expect as the relationship develops? All right. Let me go through some of the notes that Jane and I, WitchSwap, as I was mentioning before, talked about. She was interested in finding out some direct experiences with divinities from others because, a lot of times people don't always talk about that. And that where do you begin? There's so many doorways to get to spirit, and there are. And also the general idea that fear keeps people from practicing various traditions, and especially the fear of unleashing something terrible and not being able to be in control. However, those are the lessons that teach you. This is the conversation Jane and I were having, and absolutely correct on all of those points. So I'll just start with an example. I know this is the part that gets hard. This is the part where I'm like, so what parts do I share? What parts don't I? So just a very quick background. I have been a part of a spiritual tradition or a spiritual practice since my early 20s. I will not tell you how old I am now, but it's been a long time. It has been a couple of decades, okay? So at first, I had no idea. I was just like many of you who may be watching this who are brand new. What the heck? Where am I doing? What is this? I got to sit down. I couldn't sit down. I couldn't write, okay, what do I do? Because I was terrified. I was terrified that I'd insult or do something wrong. I was part of a group that really focused on deities. And I learned that just do the steps. Stop focusing on the big stuff and do the steps. Steps. Candle. What color candle? What color cloth? Wear some whites and put on some incense and sit your butt down and do some breathing. That's it. That was the focus that they made me do. And focusing on the steps for me at that time, because I'm really left-brained, helps a whole lot because it takes the fear and the worry out of it. Simple things, candle, incense, tablecloth, altar cloth, you in whites, and, take a shower, and you're good. and you sit there until you feel something. So my first real experience was with the Orisha, deity at that time, Sekert. Sekert is a deity of structure, of order, of planning, of understanding what the underlying plan is for a venture, an organization, a product, whatever it is. It's the skeleton of the thing. Without that skeleton, or if that skeleton is broken, that's the blueprint. That means whatever building goes up, whatever project is built on that broken blueprint, that broken skeleton, what happens? There's going to be a break. There's going to be a problem. It might fall. That is the energy of Sekert. Sekert, of course, gives you the idea of responsibility, of security, stability, because that's what our structure is. Sorry, shook the camera. So that is the Orisha that I started with. That is not the Orisha most people start with, as you can imagine, because in that system there is a hierarchy. It's called the Tree of Life, and Sekert is number 3 on the Tree of Life. It starts with 10, which is Geb, which is underneath the tree. Geb is the planet, is our physical body, and then it goes up. So Sekert is in the upper triad, the top 3 divinities, and then Amen is above the tree. Cosmogony, cosmology. Sekert was a very tough energy for me to get into, but they had told me that this is the energy that was around me, and I was just like, oh, okay. My first experience that I recall with Sekert was blackness. I could not get into the energy at all. It took me several weeks, because the energy is so intense and it takes you deep. You have to really, like, I can't say focus, because when you're meditating you're not focused, but you let that focus go, so you allow spirit in, you allow the energy in. But to get to that level, or rather to get to that high level, you have to get very quiet. So I had to do a lot of meditations to get to that quiet place. And there were times when I would go into the meditation, and this one time, that first time, I went into the meditation, I didn't even know. It was like I'm awake and aware and present, and then boom, the only thing I remember is coming back out and waking up. And there was no like real heavy duty recollection of anything, you know? And it was like, did I meditate or did I fall asleep? And that was what my experience was. And it didn't really feel like anything. I was confused. And when I talked to others, they were like, no, you just went really deep with it. And they began asking me questions about, well, what happened when you came out of it? Well, for me, when I came out of it, it was the next morning, because, of course, after that, I did go into sleep. But I had a sense of peace, and the thing that I had asked for, it was like I had these new ideas and new ways of going at it, and it was that sense of peace and just calmness, where before I was like fluttery about it. That's when I went, oh wait, maybe I did reach that Sekert. And then as time went on and I did more meditations with Sekert, I was able to stay awake, stay in the energy, and feel the energy directly. Sekert is a seated hawk. So a hawk has this amazing eyesight, and they have this intense concentration and focus. So imagine that energy in a seated position. So it's a lot of mental activity. So your mind is just doing like this, meanwhile you're dead still, you know? And that energy really has helped me and has been foundational for me in my entire life. And as the years went on, I found out that when I became a crowned priestess in the Yoruba tradition, Lukumi tradition, however you want to say it, that same energy was deeply a part of me. So for me, coming from one tradition to another, it didn't change the energies, the forces that I was working with or that worked with me. They stayed. And I now have a greater understanding of that Orisha in this Yoruba tradition. So when people talk to me about that Orisha, there are other things that I could add to the conversation that people go, huh. And that's because I saw another iteration in another culture that focused on other aspects. And that is part of working with the divinity. You begin to recognize that energy no matter where you go, no matter what tradition, no matter who, no matter what, no matter where, no matter why. And that's so important. The first time, and now I'm going to jump to another kind of a divinity. The first time I worked with Hecate, I didn't work with Hecate. She came looking for me. This is what I was saying about those energies, divinities and deities. They'd come looking for you. And I kept hearing her name. I have videos that I'll point to, direct you to, so if you want to find out about that experience. But it was like, who is this person? And my whole brain was consumed with, who is Hecate? What is she about? And I started researching, reading, listening, finding out how to connect with her, finding out if she was really calling me or if I was losing my mind. And it was just amazing. For me, that experience was much more tactile, much more in your face and what we humans do. Because I was researching, I was studying, I was looking up information. I was very, very like in school mode. And then when I sat down with her, it wasn't like I was, trying to meditate because she called me. She pointed me in her direction. So the energy of that connection was different. I felt called. So it's sort of like somebody coming to you and go, hey, how you doing? You so cute. Or whatever. I ain't got game, so please. But you know what I'm trying to get at. If somebody comes to you, it's easier to just flow and do it instead of you doing the initiating. You feel me? You understand? And that's what that was like. And it was sort of like this love at first sight, whirlwind romance kind of energy with Hecate. And it still is growing and developing, and it's amazing. And that is a relationship where she's there. I don't have to ask. I see her numbers. If I begin to think, oh my gosh, she's not around, I'm not doing as much for her, and I'm supposed to be in her face all the time, like, many people say that. It depends on your relationship with that particular energy. Acknowledging them every day, saying good morning to them, passing them their space that you have them in, and having a little conversation. I mean, when you have a best friend, do you sit down and have a formal sit-down get-together every day? No. It's always like, yo, what up? You texting, you're doing something. It's always a conversation. It's a relationship. And there are times when I know that I have not sat with Hecate formally. And there was this one night when I'm lying down and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. And I'm in bed and it's like, and then I turn over. And I'm like, okay. And you get up and you go sit down. And this is how it works. It is literally like two people talking to one another. And that particular meditation that I had with Hecate that night was amazing. It was literally amazing. She gave me information that was almost life-altering. It was a conversation, and certain things just did not come to me. So working with divinity is literally developing the conversation. Ganesh, Ganesh is another energy that I personally had no particular knowledge about, but I was in Chinatown and I was passing one of these little shops. It had a lot of Indian artifacts. So I went in. I don't know why, I just went in. And my brain was just like all surrounded by this little itty bitty statue that I have. Little bitty thing. I was just like, I gotta have it. I don't know why, I just gotta have it. So I asked what it was. They said Ganesh, and I went, okay. Didn't know about Ganesh. And Ganesh stayed in my bag for must be 3 weeks in my pocketbook, the pocketbook that I took every single day. Took it to work, took it, to play wherever I was going. Ganesh went with me. And then one day I was sitting at my altar and it was like, you never took me out of your bag. And I went, oh my God. Went and got Ganesh, and I started asking, because I communicate with my cowrie shells, as many of you know. Ganesh wanted to be on my prayer table. I went, okay. And Ganesh went there. And that's when I began really focusing on Ganesh. And Ganesh doesn't speak a lot to me, but there are times when my attention just gets pulled, and that's just it. With divinities that you begin working with, whether earlier or later, I find your brain or something in you starts going with that person's or that energy, and you're just like, and it's not necessarily, you won't hear a name, but it's an impulse, it's a feeling, and you're like, wonder how Ganesh is feeling, wonder how Kali is feeling, wonder how, anybody is feeling, whatever name it is. That's them touching you to tell you to work with them, to come and sit with them, because they might have a message for you. All right, and I did not talk about spirit. Spirit is not like any of the ones that we just talked about. Spirit is different. I do have a video about working with spirit, because spirits could be those who have passed on and have come back to help. Spirits could be incarnated spirits that were never human. Spirits can be, and some of them are, highly transactional, meaning you do this, I give you this. You do that, I give you that. I ask for this, you want this payment. So spirit is different. So that's why I didn't talk about spirit in this video. And that's why this video is called Interfacing with Divinity, because there's a higher and there's a lower. I'm not saying all spirits are lower, but for the most part, when you say spirit, you are talking about energies that possibly may have been human already, or other energies, because there's a spirit in anything. There's a spirit of a tree, there's a spirit of a rock, there's the spirit of the earth, there's a spirit of literally a shoe, a boot. There is energy everywhere, and if you get quiet enough, you can feel the energy. And this is when we talk about vibrations. So there are things that vibrate very high and things that vibrate very, 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 very low. Okay? Literally, I'm just finding more about this Schumann resonance. So that vibration is 7.28. That's really low. That's just the vibration of the earth, of the things itself, the planet itself, And then you have like the God frequency that is 900 and above. The frequency of love is 528 hertz. So when we talk of spirit, you have to decide what energy you're going to work with, what level you're going to work with. Or the other way, if an energy comes to you, you have to discern which level it is, so that you can decide if you want to work with them, it or not. All right? So this video has gone on way too long. That is the general gist of what I wanted to say. Let me know your thoughts. Please put some comments below. And just wanted to show you. This is the asafoetida. This is asafoetida. And what this does is it kind of banishes all of the low energies, low vibrating energies that you may not want to have around you. And I sell it on my Etsy shop. I'll put the link below. And I also sell it with beautiful little black tourmaline, so that you can do double duty with that cleaning and clearing of yourself and of your home. You can use it as an incense. You can put it in corners of your home so that you keep the, as I like to call them, niggly wigglies away. I say that is important with spirits, because when you start trying to call spirits, or if they start coming to you, you need to know what your boundaries are. I guess I'll talk more about that in another video. If you're interested, let me know. But I just wanted to mention spirit at the end of this so that we kind of cover that other aspect. All right? This is Azurite 22. Thank you so much for visiting my channel. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Oh, and look at that. Sun is peeking out now. After the whole video, the sun is peeking out. Bye-bye.